The following is a production of the Lance J Radio Network and Best in the World Sports, a division of Definitive Visions Multimedia. The opinions and views expressed are strictly those of the host and do not represent the views of Lance J Radio Network.
You're listening to Jonesy Brown.
Both you are crazy.
With Mike Jones and John Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world famous Jonesy and Brown show. It is me, your boy Brown. Mike Jones will be along a little bit later. Going to talk to him about a lot of things because this has been a terrible week at Philly sports. We're going to talk about all of that later on. But for now, we got to get ready to try and hopefully change our fortune. Hopefully change things around. I don't know if that's going to happen, but the Eagles are playing on Sunday. They do travel to Minnesota to take on the Minnesota Vikings. So we need to talk about that. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to talk to my man Rap from the Vocal Vike podcast. Rap was good, brother.
Man, how you doing, man? I'm feeling good today, on this good old Friday. I appreciate you having me on, though, man, for sure. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
All right. Well, you are the host of the Vocal Vike podcast. Tell us about that. What is the Vocal Vike podcast?
It's where, Vikings fans come. We have us a pretty decent community over there where we just come together. We talk Vikings football. I mean, it's fun. That's just really what it is. It's all purple and gold, everything over there, where we just kind of talk about the team throughout the week. We take a little different approach as far as not so much trying to be the first to break news or anything like that. We kind of just give our opinions on the news, even if it's a week old. Like, we just have open conversation, and I tend to let the viewers call in and be active. I always say be vocal, get vocal. That's kind of the slogan there. So, that's just pretty much what it is, the Vikings podcast. Let's go.
I like it. How long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing this since 2023,
okay.
2022, February 9th, 2022. So, right. It's going on 3 years, or it's been 3 years and some change. So, it's been a journey, but a fun one. I'll say that. I appreciate our community. I feel like our community is one of the best. I know that's kind of cliche, but hey, I really trust our community, man, and they make it worthwhile. So time has flown by, to be honest with you. For 3 years that already passed. It's like, dang, I feel like I started yesterday,
Nice. Now you're originally from New Jersey, correct?
Right. So I was born in New Jersey. Yep. Right. That's where.
Oh, what part of New Jersey? North Jersey or South Jersey?
Asbury. Yeah, Asbury
okay.
Park. Yep. So, and then I winded up, and now I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. That's where I reside. That's kind of where I resided for a while here. And I know you're going to ask me about my ties to Minnesota and how I became a Minnesota Vikings fan.
That's kind of interesting. I would like to see how that kind of plays out.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy because a lot of my family up there, they're either Philly fans or, they're either Eagles fans or they're Giants fans. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. My mom's is a Jets fan, believe it or not, which is crazy. She had to go against the grain. She like, everybody want to pick, I'm going with the Jets. So,
goodness. How's she liking that choice?
She ain't liking it at all.
How's that working out for her?
Not good. You know what I mean? Not good.
Buyer's remorse.
Yeah, for sure. But it is what it is. She ride for him, and that's cool. How I became a Vikings fan was when I was 10 years old, just watching Randy Moss. I wanted to be like him. So it really just started out as him being my favorite player. He was just a player. It was a player thing. It wasn't so much about the team. Like I didn't care what team he was on. It's just like, who is that guy, number 84 right there, catching over 3-4 people at a time and just out there balling. And I wanted to be like him. So, he was kind of my idol at the time. And then after the second year of just pretty much supporting him, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to buy, because I was only watching him. I would wait till Sundays to watch Randy Moss. So obviously by doing that, I catch myself watching the Minnesota Vikings. So it's just like, you know what? I might as well just go ahead and lock in. I'm just going to be a Vikings fan. Let me just start supporting the team. And then I started just getting into more of, all right, who's the quarterback? All right, who's the cornerback? Who's the safety playing? What's this guy and that guy's name? And then, just started finding that true love. It took a couple years to really build it. Like, it was a process of really buying into the Minnesota Vikings and not just buying into Randy Moss. But once I was in, and just never turned back.
Now, when you were a fan of Moss, did you get in at the very beginning of his career, or was it pretty much Moss and Culpepper? Like, were you able to watch and appreciate the Moss Randall Cunningham years?
I was not. It was Culpepper. Yeah,
okay.
It was Culpepper. So, but it was still some good years. It was still some good years. We still had something to work with there. Super exciting. So I don't take it for granted, man. I feel like I almost became, which is crazy, because I almost we had this thing, me and my friend. This is a cool story here of how God works in a way, right? Where we went to this place called CC's Pizza in Charleston. I'm sure, I don't think they have them up north, matter of fact. But do you have CC's? You ever heard of CC's Pizza?
I have heard of it. I'm not sure. I don't know where one is.
It's like a buffet. It's like a buffet for pizza, right? They got pudding, pizza, everything you can do.
Yep.
So they had these. This is when those little football mugs were popular. The little miniature coffee mugs that were in the gumball machine. Yep. And me and my partner were there, and we're I don't know, 10, 11, right? And we're like, hey, listen, whatever team we spin out here, this is the team we gonna support for the rest of our lives. Like, we kind of much just made a bet right there. Like, we no turning back. Whatever team we spin. Crazy thing, I put the quarter in. I actually get the Vikings, which is crazy, right? This is after I already been supporting Moss too. But I was willing to switch my team no matter what the cup I got, right? And that's how I picked my fandom, which is crazy to think about. But then my partner, he wound up getting the Redskins. And still to this day, he's a diehard Redskin. I mean, diehard, So
you need better friends, bro.
Yeah, man.
You need better influences, man.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about, man, how that worked out that day, man. So, it was meant for me to be a Vikings fan, to say the least.
I hear you, and then here you are now hosting the Vocal Vike podcast, man.
Yeah.
Look, let's get into this game for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
This is, I guess, Sunday in Minnesota. This is your first actual home game in about a month.
Yep.
Y'all been playing overseas, playing in other countries. Now, how starved is this team for some home cooking?
Man, I think we pretty starved. The last time we were at home, I was actually did we play the Bengals at home? Matter of fact, I'm sorry, because we did play the Bengals at home. I was thinking like, dang, last time we were home, I was in the building and it wasn't nice. But I think we're ready. I think it's needed to be back home, being that we had to play 2 games back to back across the pond. I don't know why the NFL did that to us, but they did. And the good thing is we were able to come out of that thing 1-1 instead of 0-2 being over there. So I'll take it. I would much rather 2-0 coming from over there, but it is what it is. But I think the fans are excited. Our fan base is super excited about getting back in the bank and representing. So I think it's gonna be a loud game. I'm gonna tell you that the game gonna be loud. Hey, our crowd, man, our fan base, we turn it up in there, man. That's a fact. We get loud. So I think it's important, man.
All right. Well, look, it is looking like you guys are gonna have Carson Wentz behind the center on Sunday.
Yeah.
You guys are 2-1 with him. But this is probably his biggest test so far this season. What is your confidence level in Carson Wentz as a quarterback?
It's about 60%. Like if we're doing a scale 1 to 100, it's 60. All right. Okay. Like I think there will be some type of motivation behind this game, being that it's against you guys, right? Mm-hmm. He grew up a Vikings fan. Like this is the team he grew up with, is coming up from where he came up from in North Dakota, all that stuff. A lot of those people are Vikings fans in that area. So, this is something where he gets to play for his childhood team, but he gets to play against a team that believed in him and drafted him, but also let him walk right out the door just based off an injury in a way, just can never bounce back from it. So there may be some type of trying to seek revenge in there. So I'm going to give him a little bit there, but I will say I'm not a huge Carson Wentz fan though. So like, I'm not out here jumping on the Wentz train. Oh, he's about to, resurrect his career. None of this, that, and the third. I think he's suited up to play maybe a slightly above average football game.
Okay. What? I know that Jefferson has been injured, been battling some injuries. Thought he might be able to come back this week, but it looks like they're going to keep him on the bench.
How about JJ McCarthy?
Yeah. Yep. But at this point in his career, what does Carson Wentz bring to your team?
He brings experience. I mean, I think that's the best word right there. Is he brings some experience. I mean, that you can't take away. That's one thing you can't take away from him. Is he's been in the league a while. What, 2016 is when he got drafted? 2017, in that range. So he's been around. He's been on multiple franchises. He was able to sit behind Patrick Mahomes last year and be with Andy Reid in that offense. So I'm sure he got some type of nuggets and tidbits and being able to practice with them throughout the season. So, I mean, we get some experience. I'll say that's a plus. That's something that I'm okay with, rather than having two young guys who really don't have experience. And then we got to lean on a guy to try to win us a football game against somebody like the Eagles with a guy that has not much experience. That's a lot of times that's not a good formula for success. But Carson Wentz, at any moment, he could have a breakout game. Like, we've seen it before. Like, he can go out there and throw for 300 plus and 3 touchdowns. And, is he going to do it this Sunday? That's another.
Yeah. Question. Well, he lit up Cincinnati.
He did light up Cincinnati.
He lit up Cincinnati, man. It was looking like he was looking like the second coming in that Cincinnati game. But look, and also he seems to be finding Justin Jefferson just fine. So it's like that's pretty, but that's all you need from him, or at least the number one thing, right?
Right. Yeah. No, that's important, man. Any quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, you got to be able to get the ball to 18. Not only that, though, you got to be able to get the ball to 3 too, man. Free 3. Jordan Addison, because people sleep on how productive he really is, man. But Jordan Addison can change a game by himself as well. So it's exciting. I think we got something cooking a little bit.
Okay. Well, I see you got something cooking, and we talked about McCarthy.
Yeah.
But with the success that Wentz is having, do you see a scenario where Wentz could keep that starting job, or do you think they're going to go back to McCarthy as soon as possible?
They're going back to McCarthy, and they need to go back to McCarthy. Because this is the thing. We're not winning a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz. Okay. We can be excited about Carson Wentz for these couple games and he's 2-1 and that's great, right? That's cool. But like, if you're thinking long term and you're thinking, all right, we're trying to win Super Bowls, we're trying to bring championships to this city, Carson Wentz is not the answer for that. I think most Vikings fans can agree to that. And to sit and watch Carson Wentz play football for the rest of the season, to win 9 games, 8 games, maybe barely miss the playoffs or barely make the playoffs and get bounced out, I'm not signing up for that. The Vikings front office sold us on, we drafted a guy. With the 10th pick, we believe in this guy. He was hurt, but he was able to sit behind all last year and learn the playbook and do virtual reality and all this extra, sold us on it. So like, if that's the case, well, we need to see. All right. I don't care what Carson Wentz got going on. We need to see what this kid can do, and you need to put him out there. Now, durability is going to be another question if he tends to go out there again and get hurt, because then that'll be 3 injuries that's keeping him out for time, too long of time. So that's a conversation we'll have to, we'll cross that bridge if we get there. Hopefully we don't, but no, this is JJ McCarthy's team, and the Vikings organization sold us on that. So when Carson wins, when JJ's 100%, it's time for him to go out there and play.
I hear you. Well, look, I do know the Vikings have had some, other than just McCarthy, they have had some injuries, especially on their O-line. Yeah. You think they're going to be able to protect whoever's behind the center?
Yeah. So my answer is I'll say right? I do believe they can. It's crazy. Last week, we put together some makeshift offensive line. Not last week, but the week before. Sorry, we were on a bye last week, but the week before against the Browns, a makeshift offensive line. We had a guy that never played center because he's a natural tackle and guard, played center for the first time in Blake Brandel and did amazing at it. We had some guy, Justin School, who has been horrible. But he had to play right tackle this time instead of stepping in for left tackle that he's been doing recently. So this offensive line was just kind of all over the place, and they wound up playing the best game so far from the Vikings offensive line this season, which is crazy to think about against a Browns defensive line, which we thought we were like, yo, we're going into this game with these guys as the line, bro. This is about to get nasty. Like, bro, Carson Wentz is about to get his face stomped into the turf today. And they actually did good. So I say that to say, yeah, the answer is yeah, because I think when we get fully healthy, I believe that, we were projected to have one of at least a top 8 offensive line this season with the free agents that we brought in with Kelly and Will Fries, and then having Christian Darrisaw, Brian O'Neill. And then obviously we went with our first pick in the draft. In our first round pick, we went with a guy from Ohio State and Donovan Jackson. I mean, yeah, this offensive line going to be straight, man. We're going to be good. They just got to mesh. They got to mesh it, man.
I hear you. Well, look, let's move over real quick to the other side of the ball because it looks like Quinyon Mitchell is going to play for us on Sunday. So he will line up at cornerback. So he's probably going to get a healthy dose of Jefferson.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the ball, we got Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson. And it's not good, and it pretty much, I know Jefferson's a stud. And it's like, all right, I know that. And at this point, it really doesn't matter who else you have on your, in your wide receiver room, whoever you got, the wide receiver assistant, the guy that carries the bags, they're going to have a game against Ringo and Jackson. But realistically though, you look at the rest of that offense, and I guess, who should Eagles fans really be worried about when you're looking at players not just Justin Jefferson?
I'm going to say Jordan Addison is going to be one. Jordan Addison is somebody who you definitely want to pay attention to. And in the running game, Jordan Mason, he hasn't really gone off so far, but he's one of those players that can at any moment. Now, I think it's a bad matchup for him to do it this week against you guys, especially if Carter's going to be in, because Carter's playing, right? I believe he's scheduled.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go. Yep.
So, there's going to be some resistance there. So if I had to pick a player, I would say him and then TJ Hawkinson, the tight end, because Carson Wentz loves targeting the tight end, and he's getting our tight end more involved. So that's somebody. That's what I would say. I would say Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. Definitely pass game.
Okay, and while I got you here, I do want to talk a little bit about that Minnesota defense because right now sixth in total defense, 3rd in points allowed. Man, I mean y'all pretty impressive, especially what y'all doing against the pass. And so at this point, how do you plan on stopping Jalen Hurts? Which honestly that hasn't been that hard.
I'm about to say, yeah. Just play, you know what I'm saying? But and I like Jalen Hurts, by the way. I have nothing against him. I think Jalen Hurts is a good player. I think certain Eagles fans underappreciate what Jalen Hurts actually brings to the table. But that's neither here nor there. I think the Vikings defense, if we just play our game, he's really what I worry about is every time I remember playing you guys while Jalen Hurts has been the quarterback, is making sure we don't allow him to extend plays and get out of the pocket and then be able to get these 8-yard runs, 9-yard runs, 10-yard runs where they're just off schedule, but they gash you though. Like you got him at 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and then he takes off and gains 12. And it's just and it happens over and over again. That's my memory from the last time we played y'all, and I don't like it, right? So it's one of those deals. I think we need to stop that. Not so much his arm and what he's going to do in the air. I'm more concerned about the legs and containing that part of his game.
Mm-hmm. Now, and that being said, trying to stop Jalen Hurts, but also trying to stop Saquon Barkley. How does Minnesota plan to stop Barkley?
So we have a plus coming back, which is Blake Cashman, our starting linebacker, which is huge. Like when he's in, it's a world of difference of being able to stop the run. He's a big part of us being able to stop the run. So I think him coming in is going to help. I think Barkley's in that category of you can't stop him. You can just slow him down. You know what I'm saying? Like he's one of those players. There is no such thing as just eliminating him from the game. He's going to do something, even if it's just one big run that get y'all in field position or whatever, or get y'all in field goal position or whatever. But yeah, I'm just hoping we be aggressive in the linebacker part of the field, and Blake Cashman gonna make some impact there for sure.
Nice. Well, look, a rule on the Jonesy and Brown show: we have abolished predictions. We don't do predictions, but we do expectations.
Okay.
So, Rap, what is your expectation for Sunday?
So my expectation is for the Vikings to win, first of all. All right, that's the first expectation right there. Yeah, we're gonna start right there.
All right.
I think it's gonna be 27-20.
Mm-hmm.
I got us winning by a touchdown. And yes, that's the Vikings fan and me, but I think we can put up those type of points. And then watching you guys drop 2 in a row, there's a lot that's exciting for us. That can mean, but that could also mean bad news for us because the chances of you guys losing 3 in a row, being that you guys are a championship caliber team, is probably slim to none. Usually teams like that, like the Eagles or any team that's good like that, that's well coached and things, they lose 2, okay. But after that, they're like, nah, we regrouping, bro. We about to go back out here and start handling business again. We tripping. And now we're in the way of that. So I hope we can make y'all drop 3. I'm going 27-20, but I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm excited. Hopefully y'all don't blow us out, because I can't stand the Eagles, man. Nothing against you, but the Eagles, man, they just because we can't beat them. Every time we play y'all, I feel like we lose. Ever since the NFC Championship game in 2017, I just got bad taste in my mouth.
I understand. Well, and despite the fact that I have enjoyed these couple of minutes talking with you, and I
absolutely,
I like your work, and you seem to be a very, just a down to earth brother, man.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm gonna enjoy if we get this win and just rubbing it in your face and just giving you all the thing, pretty much personifying everything that you probably hate about us and our fans. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
But real quick, before I let you go, let people know how they can reach you and where they can find your work.
Yeah, man, you can find me on Vocal Vike. That's VOCALVIKE, Vocal Vike. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X. And then YouTube, obviously. That's my main platform is YouTube. And then I also have another show I do called Purple Parlor. So if you into Viking stuff or just football stuff in general, like my thing is this, like, even though I'm a Viking-centric channel, I tap in with a lot of people. Like now I'm gonna be tapped in with you all the time. I want to hear what you got to say. Y'all can be playing the Giants. It doesn't matter. Like, I want to hear what you got to say about the week. I want to hear what you got going on, how you feeling, what's the vibe. So, I'm one of those guys. And if you're like that, tap in with me, hit the subscribe button, because I guarantee you there will be at some point where we talk about something that you can relate to, or if it's just not even the conversation, there's somebody in my community, I know for a fact when it comes to the chat and stuff like that, that you will relate to, So shout out to everybody, though, that's tapping into this. And hit me up. Hit your boy RAP up, man.
All right, man. Rap from Vocal Vike. Appreciate you, good brother. Thank you, sir.
I'll at you, brother.
All right.
Later.
All right, let's bring in my man, Mike Jones. What's going on, good brother?
Oh, man, I'm good. Another day.
Are you really good?
I'm good.
Are you really? I mean,
me, myself, I am good.
All right. Well,
the teams I root for.
Oh my God.
That's another story.
Oh my God. Oh, we're going to get into that because we got a good guest for you today. All right, we got a man whose name rings out in Philadelphia sports media. All right, heard him for years on 97.5 The Fanatic. Man who, while hosting a show on 97.5 The Fanatic, still found the time to come on our show. So that says a lot about this brother, and that's why we like him. That's why he's always been a friend of our show. He's got a new situation now. He's the co-host of the Craig Carton Show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tyrone Johnson is joining us this week. Welcome to the show, brother.
Appreciate you guys for having me. How's everything?
Everything is real. Everything is real good, despite the fact that damn near every team that I cheer for lost since the last time me and Mike Jones did a show.
Yeah, I can see that. I understand.
The Flyers got to win.
Well, that's why I'm wearing the jacket. That's the reason I'm wearing the jacket. I couldn't represent the other teams yet. Not right now. Not right now.
It's hard. And Jones, you see me. I know what you said before about boycotting all Sixers gear. I still got a Sixers hat on, but that's just because I like matching. You know, it matches the sweatshirt. It could have been anybody right now.
Sixers season hasn't started yet, so where would you?
They haven't done anything wrong yet.
No, they have not done anything wrong yet, but just like the proverbial bad girlfriend, they've made some changes. They're looking good from a distance, and they're piquing your interest. And then what's going to happen is you're going to give them another chance, and they'll break your heart again.
Probably.
So I kind of disagree with that, but
of course you do.
So go ahead. I think the roster is built wrong.
Well, that's because I know why you think that is, but go ahead, explain why.
So, because their roster is built wrong, your two highest paid players have a long history of injuries. They're unreliable.
Mm-hmm.
Your backcourt is undersized and often redundant, i.e. Maxey and McCain. You don't have a true playmaker to get all these guys who are looking for shots in the right position. I mean, Kyle Lowry's 38 years old. You can't expect him to give you a lot of high-quality, good minutes.
He's 38 years old and already got a side hustle.
And there's nobody else on the roster that actually is a natural point guard. Edgecombe's exciting, but he's a rookie, so how much do you expect from him? I don't see a lot coming from the Sixers this year. That's just how I feel about it.
But they look good in those scrimmage highlights that I saw. I saw Embiid dunking, and
they did look good in those. Yeah. They did look good in those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen Ben Simmons look good in a lot of those too.
Oh, come on, man.
No, you ain't see Ben Simmons look good. Now, let's look at the other side with the Sixers real fast. Since we start right off right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the injury stuff. There is no rebuttal to that, but you can't only look at it that way before the season starts. You can definitely look at that April, May, and then they probably won't get to June. Yes, you can look at it then. But we're talking about still in October. If you look at it in October, your point guard on this team more or less is Joel Embiid. That's who you're running your offense through if he's out there. And they've been very successful when Embiid is healthy, running the offense through him. I know he's not going to be the one bringing the ball up, but in the half court, they're going to run the offense through Joel Embiid because he's your best playmaker at this point, to your original point, Jonesy. And I do think that in October, November, December, the Sixers can get enough wins to be a factor in a weakened Eastern Conference. Now, obviously, it's a 1 in a million chance of Joel Embiid and Paul George being healthy when it matters. I cannot dispute that part of it. But basketball-wise, I don't fully agree about how this team is built if those guys are healthy. And as far as Edgecombe goes, we're talking about a top 3 pick here. So while what can you expect? He better look like a top 3 pick, meaning he's not the number 1 option. We know that. He's not the number 2 option. We know that. And many times he won't even be the number 3 option. If you're not prepared to be a number 4 option, it's probably a bad pick if you're 3rd overall, because they're not looking at him to come in and take over and be the team. I could be, the main guy. Kind of if you look at the 1st overall pick, Kyrie's not there, but we know AD is going to be the 1st overall option there. Therefore, if he's not ready as the 1st overall pick to be a secondary option, then that's not a good pick. So if Edgecombe is not ready to be a 4th option, then we'll know very early this is not a great pick. But I do think he's capable of being a 4th option, not a 1st
I agree.
option.
I agree with you about Edgecombe. I think Edgecombe.
See,
I think Edgecombe has a bright future. I'm saying as the team for this particular season, I'm not expecting a guy that could carry a roster through the playoffs or anything. Like that's what I mean when I say how much can I expect from a rookie.
That's fair, but I don't think they are going to ask him to do that. And if there's any hope they won't need that, we have to go off the premise that Embiid's going to play 60 games, not 82, but he has played 60 games before. That has happened. Like we have seen that with our own eyes. Mm-hmm. If he's healthy enough to play 60 out of 82, they could easily win 48 out of those 60. I don't know what's going to happen in those 22 that he doesn't play, but they win a lot of games when he's out there. We just have to hope that he's out there for enough games for them to get a decent seed in the postseason, and then just hope and pray that the impossible happens and he's healthy at the end versus the beginning.
First of all, I just want to say that in like the first 4 minutes of this show, Tyrone Johnson has just made he's made a claim for the show to be called Johnson and Brown, because I've totally believe him and not you. See, that's what I needed. Because I told you how, the Sixers had, I'm where I need to be in October. And you just ripped the carpet from under me and knocked me down. And Ty Johnson got me right back.
It's where they need to be in October. Before we play a game, exactly. That's where we need to be.
Exactly. Now, I'll be full doom and gloom with Jonesy come probably
Christmas.
Yeah, maybe even Thanksgiving. But here's the thing about Embiid, and we know not necessarily to expect him at the start of the season. But I feel like as much as he's been criticized for his conditioning, I feel like there have been times in the past we've gone into seasons where people are saying, hey, he looks to be in better shape. Hey, he looks to have worked on his conditioning. And then maybe a week or two into the season, we're criticizing him about his conditioning again. It's like, what? And no one has been able to tell me what is happening. Does the season start and he just starts eating cheeseburgers, or what happens? Like, explain that to me. It doesn't make sense.
I think at the end of the day, you can't. He's in good. If you look at his body, and you can at least say that if you saw the scrimmage, he's in good physical condition. Now, basketball shape is different. Also, we have to look at the burden that's on him. Really, since this team has been around, the burden started with he had to play different because of Ben Simmons. That's where it started, where he could not be. I know there's a bunch of people that say he should be posted up more and all that stuff. At one point, he couldn't do that because you know who needed to be by the basket? Ben Simmons, because he refused to shoot. So already you have a big man playing in space on offense and having to cover up a lot of things on defense. So I think a lot of times the burden early in the season is what I think is taking a toll. But the negative is, even if he does start the season, it doesn't appear healthy. It doesn't appear Paul George will be ready for the start of the season. Therefore, that burden is going to be heavy on him right away, especially defensively, because you got a lot of small guys. They're going to have to play instead. So what you got to hope for is he plays somewhere in the first 5 games. I mean, not opening night, and he's able to at least play one end of the floor at a high enough level, and hopefully Maxey, who's the most mature offensive player Embiid has ever played with as far as offensive game, he can go out there and cook from the start, and that will take a lot of pressure off of him, something we've never seen before, other than maybe with James Harden. Part-time because James Harden also would start a season out of shape and play his way into shape as well.
So you kind of mentioned it, the burden that's going to be on Embiid defensively because they just don't have a lot of size. I've kind of been on this train for a while with Maxey, McCain, even VJ Edgecombe, who is much more explosive than the others, isn't a 6'6", 6'7" type of wing.
Right.
How do you see them being able to hold up against some of the other perimeter teams?
Well, this year, a little bit better because you don't have to worry about Halliburton and you don't have to worry about Tatum. So what happens is you end up playing, you play well. I don't care who you play. You play Cleveland, those guards are small.
They're undersized as well.
Yeah,
it is a little different this season.
Yeah, you can match up with a bunch of teams, but eventually you would run into Indiana and you think the Sixers are going to beat them. And meanwhile, they don't really have a natural guy to guard Halliburton. Well, he's not playing this year. And then
Right.
you run into it, and Maxey ends up having to guard either after they do a switch, especially when they had Drew Holiday, who's much bigger and not in addition to being a little taller, also a lot bigger, a lot thicker as a player. He ends up getting on a switch, and he's got to guard Tatum or Brown. Well, now you don't have to worry about. You can actually hide Maxey a little bit more on defense this particular year. And if you look at Orlando, they added they had a nice offseason, the same with Atlanta, but none of those guards are overwhelming. This is actually the perfect year, perhaps, for the Sixers to be able to get away with the size disadvantage because it's not nearly as much a disadvantage. Now, 1 year from now, we having the same conversation. Halliburton's back, Tatum is back, and we go, well, you got to have an extra guard. But for now, they actually match up okay, and I do believe Edgecombe will guard larger than his size. I feel very comfortable for minute number one. Even though he's 6'3" and change, I think he'll guard guys 6'6", long arms, explosive. So what you really need is you need Paul George to come back. And if Paul George comes back and plays enough games in this particular East, this year, they actually match up way better. Now, come next year when those other guys are back, it could be trouble again. But this year, they may be able to get away with it as long as Paul George can again play 60 or so out of the 82 games.
And that was going to be my next question because you had talked about winning Embiid, hoping you could get 60 games out of Embiid. And you're saying that's the same expectation for Paul George, 60 games?
I think it has to be anything less than that. And they're not going to have they're not going to win enough games. They're not going to win enough games. Those West Coast trips are going to be killer if you don't have him because those teams will have some of those guards. I'm thinking about the East right now. When you go out West and you're playing Denver, even the Lakers, the Clippers now, and all those teams, you're going to need him. So you have to have him for enough of those games to win enough games to really be in the mix because they have to probably be the 4 seed. Now, if you give the Knicks, if you put the Knicks in front of them, don't even think about it. If you put Cleveland in front of them, and then if you put Orlando or Atlanta in front of them, that means they really don't have to beat one of those teams out to get in that top half of the Eastern Conference. And if they're able to do that, they'll be okay. If they're not able to do that, again, that's with Boston down and with Indiana down. So in another year, they might be the 6, 7, 8 seed. They're in the play-in. But this year, again, it's that opportunity. He has to play that many games, or I don't see them winning enough to be any factor. Even if Embiid's healthy, they're going to go on the road every round in the postseason. That's not going to happen. It's not. You have to have home court at least in that first round.
Yeah,
So
you make a really good point about the opportunity they have this year in the East with a couple major injuries. You already know guys are out for the season.
And Boston, Tatum's talking about, they showed the video of him dunking in an empty gym with no defense and all that stuff.
Right.
Well, they also tore down the roster. They got rid of Horford. They got rid of Porter. So even if he was able to come back, they cut so much salary thinking he's not going to play that's not going to be the full Boston team.
Yeah,
I mean,
what's he coming back to?
Right. Maxey can guard.
Year.
Right. Maxey can guard Pritchard. That's who now it's rather than Drew Holiday or one of those big guards, he ended up guarding Peyton Pritchard. Maxey could do that.
Yeah.
So this is where this year lines up. Come next year, now he's going to be on a switch and he's going to have to guard Tatum and Brown, and then that could be a problem.
So you think Boston's probably thinking, Tatum's not coming back. Maybe, you tear down this roster now. So when Tatum comes back, you could possibly have a lottery pick to put around him and some money to get some free agents as well.
Yeah, there's that. And then there's also the whole thing with the repeater tax, with the luxury tax. They got under the luxury tax. So when he comes back, you can go right back over it, but you don't have to pay the repeater because it starts off, for people who don't know, I'm not trying to talk down or anything, but it's like dollar for dollar at first. Then it's $2 per dollar. It gets really high. Like, look at what the Warriors have been paying, what the Clippers have been playing. Well, they were able to, last year, the Clippers, part of the reason why Paul George is here, they needed to dip under for a year to not have to pay the repeater tax. Well, now Boston got underneath. So if they do retool for the following year, they're not paying the repeater tax. So if I go over by $100, making up the number, I only have to pay an extra $100. Now it's getting to the point with Golden State, for every extra $100 they spend, they got to pay $350 extra every time because they've been over the luxury tax every year. And that's that thing with the apron and everything they put in. And that's one thing the Sixers did really well last year when they realized Embiid was hurt. By trading guys away, they were able to get under that threshold so they could perhaps make a trade. If they're in the mix this year, they could take on salary that they wouldn't have been able to do if they had to pay, a $3 million player costing you $9 million. They weren't going to do that, and they were able to dip under. That thing is a real problem in this NBA, and I think it's part of the reason why a lot of teams are going to be in the mix, because it's going to be harder to build a, quote, dynasty because people don't want to pay that extra money.
It is very punitive under this current CBA to try to maintain a certain level of talent. It's the NFL hard cap guarantees player movement. This is pretty close.
You're right. And that's what they apparently after next year, they're going to try to do it with baseball. So we probably won't have a baseball season to start 2027 because the players aren't going to want to have it. So this is a real thing owners are doing now, and it's a fight. And in hockey, they had to add 2 games to make people happy. They had to go. Everybody says play shorter seasons. They had to add games to make sure the money worked for everybody.
So do you like that? Do you like what the NBA is doing? Do you like this move?
I don't, and I think it's been proven out that David versus Goliath is what people like. People like David versus Goliath. Having super teams are good for the league because you want to dream. As long as your team isn't terrible, you want the hope that your team can beat that team. Back in the day with Dallas, I got to go way back now because it's been a long time. We remember teams with Ray Rhodes and other coaches where they were nowhere near as good as Dallas. But those twice a year, we had that hope that they could beat a team like that. That works really well. By making everybody kind of the same, on the one hand, hypothetically, if you draft well, you can go pop and win a championship. But it's harder to have that Goliath for everybody to chase. And I think deep down, that's what people really want. Like, as much as people hated on LeBron and them, when they went on the road, no one missed a game because everybody wanted to see if their team could beat the big 3. And getting rid of that, I think, does hurt a little bit. And while we'll act like that's the first time, the Celtics in the 80s, the Lakers in the 80s, the Jordan Bulls, we've seen dominant teams before, and they did really well. Like, people talk about
the league did very, very well.
The league did very well. And they make movie after movie about Magic versus Bird and Jordan and this and that, or Shaq and Kobe, and now we want to act like all of a sudden we didn't love it. We loved it. We wished we were them. We didn't love us, but we loved it.
But even if you didn't love it, you loved to hate it. Like, if you weren't a Shaq and Kobe person, you avidly rooted against them. You wanted to see them lose. You wanted to see, you were ecstatic when you saw the Spurs
or the Pistons,
or the Pistons. That boy Pistons, right? So now, well, not to cut you off, but historically, NBA has been the toughest sport to win a championship, but the easiest to win multiple championships. And now all of a sudden it's going to be much more random, like the NFL, where we talk about how hard it is to repeat. I mean, even the Patriots had a 10-year span with Tom Brady where they didn't win. 10-year span. They won early, went 10 years, won late. So we talk about how you saw what happened with the Chiefs in that Super Bowl against our Eagles. We're sitting there going, all right, the Chiefs, the nation's thinking, wow, this could be the first three-peat ever. And not only did they not three-peat, they got destroyed because it's that hard to do. And now we're making it that way for all the sports. And I thought that was the part that made basketball unique, where if you figured out that secret sauce, like the Warriors, like the Spurs that you mentioned, like all those teams, you could go on a run. It's going to be much harder to do that now, to where it's still going to be hard to get one, and it's going to be really hard to get 2, 3. Look at Boston. They got the one. We can get another one. So I think go ahead.
I'm just to piggyback off your point. It sounds like that's actually going to kind of change the whole NBA conversations about who's the best player, who's the best team, who's had the best career. All because if you think about it, like all of our life, basketball's been defined by this player's era. Whether it's the Magic Bird era, the Jordan era, the Shaq Kobe era, the Tim Duncan era. Now it's just going to be random champions. It doesn't feel the same.
The Boston year, the OKC year, whoever.
No, because OKC this year they could absolutely repeat. But then after that, with the tax, They're not going to pay that at Oklahoma City, which means one of their big guys, other than SGA, is going to have to go. They're not going to pay that. So now you won't get 3 and 5 years or, 3 and 4 years. I don't think so. I think OKC can absolutely repeat this year because you still got guys like Chet on a rookie contract.
Right.
But once Chet gets the max, somebody's got to go other than SGA.
Okay.
So imagine if Jordan was coming up and they had to get rid of Pippen, or they had to get rid of Horace Grant the first time, or they had to get rid of Rodman. That's what they've created to where it's going to be much harder to have your guys with you the whole time. You're going to have to get lucky in the draft, and you're going to be drafted in the late 20s and 30s. like you have to get lucky to hit on another guy to replace your main guy, and that's the part I don't like. Like, yes, they could have got rid of B.J. Armstrong along the way, but those aren't the guys that make the money.
Right.
So imagine Jordan wins 2 titles. Horace, you can't be back for the 3-peat. We can't afford you. They win 2 titles the next time. They go, hey, Rodman, yeah, we can't afford you. So
thanks for coming out with it. Yeah.
And we got to bring in some rookie or some young player or free agent or just piece it together. So it's Jordan with 4 rings versus 6. Part of Jordan is 6-0. How can anybody go 6-0 if your teammates can't be with you the whole time? Like he had Pippen the whole time. Will that happen going forward? I don't know.
And that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like this whole conversation, the way we look, it's going to be different now.
Different.
Definitely different. All right, I wanted to switch gears for a second because I really wanted your opinion on this. Just going off what's been going on in local news lately. What surprised you more? Penn State firing James Franklin now, or the news that the Phillies are going to run it back, at least with Rob Thompson?
The firing Franklin more now, right now, it surprises me more for this reason. When you have Dombrowski, you have a guy who has been there, done that. And in baseball, it's not like a football coach. It's not like a basketball coach. It's not like a hockey coach either. Hockey coaches, they get rid of them quick. Like their shelf life goes out really fast. And when you think about it, they're controlling every shift of every game. So every whistle, that coach is making some form of a decision in hockey. We know about basketball. We know about football. In the case of baseball, you're really talking about 5 to 10 games a year over 162 where they really make that difference. So if you get a manager who the players want to play for and is comfortable playing for, the old school presidents and GMs almost always keep that manager. Now, I can tell you they're not going to run it back with all the players, but to keep that steadying first, you know that Turner's going to be here, has a no trade. Harper has a no trade. Those 2 guys are going to be there. So now you keep him and you keep them with a manager they like, and then you change the players. That, to me, not that surprising, even though a lot of fans were mad at him. They lost because the players didn't hit. They didn't lose because of him. Now, in the meantime, when you talk about Franklin, going into that Oregon game, like I was a friend, Natalie Eganoff, she goes on Fox. You see her. I was at her birthday party the night of, that was just 3 weeks ago, the night of the Penn State-Oregon double overtime game. At that moment, Penn State fans at that moment going into that overtime loved James Franklin. Maybe they didn't love him all the time, but at that moment, they were like, look at us. We get ready to get this game. It's a whiteout. 3 weeks later, he's out of there. And they had to pay him $50 million to go away. That, to me, is more surprising because of how quick it happened. I still think it was the right move, but that was quick. Like, he went from, wow, he's finally going to win a big game, to being fired in 3 weeks.
And you said, and you said you believe in the move. You like the move.
And this is the reason why. I can tell you specifically why. The Franklin always lost the big games. We know that. The thing that he always did, and there's value in this, and it's something that every team and it's actually something the Phillies have done, and that's part of the reason why they kept the manager. By and large, they always beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And while you say that, Ohio State last year did not do that. They ended up winning a national championship at the end, but they weren't supposed to lose to that Michigan team, for example. That was a game they were supposed to win. He always won the games he's supposed to do. And usually, historically, if you do that and you stay in the mix, eventually you pop. You look at Georgia, they didn't win right away when he gets the job, Kirby Smart, but he kept winning the games he's supposed to win, and then he lose to Alabama or somebody like that. And then eventually you pop. Usually, That's what happens. The moment that guy lost games he was supposed to win, after losing all the big ones, there's no need to have him. The value was we're going to always win 10 games because we're always going to win the games we're supposed to. Once you lose to UCLA and Northwestern, and you already lost to Oregon, you're going to lose. Maybe you lose to Indiana and Ohio State. Yeah, I don't need you because the reason you were here was because your floor was high. Maybe your ceiling wasn't high, but your floor was high. Once your floor gets low and you don't win any big games, you don't have a purpose. So that's why I think it's the right move.
So where does Penn State go from here then? Like,
I'll tell you where I would go. I would go to Kurt Signetti. I'd go to Indiana's coach because 2 years we talk about how fast something happens. Indiana football, you kidding me? Indiana football, you kidding me? And then sure enough, what did he do? He went to Oregon on the road where they hadn't lost in 3 years, and he beat them. He knows how to win big games. He's from the Midwest. And don't tell me he don't know how to coach. He won at JMU. That dude's been winning Division II. He's been winning his whole life. But the most important thing you see, he unlocks a ceiling that Penn State has not had. Indiana wins the games already they're supposed to win, which was 2 years. Last year, we thought, I don't know how many they're supposed to win. They only end up losing to, Ohio State. They only lost to elite teams. Then this year, he goes into Oregon like that, and they talk about his quarterback, which he went and got in the portal. And the 2 mock drafts came out today from USA Today and ESPN, the first mock draft. Now, it's mad early, obviously. Yeah, his quarterback's the first overall pick on the mock drafts, and he went and got that guy. Now, everybody didn't like Drew Aller, right? You know what he would have done? Replaced him. He went to Cal, got Fernando Mendoza, and made him the guy. They're going to be the first pick in the draft. So that's why, to me, that's the first call. I know people like Matt Rule, and the AD was at Temple. And now he's at Penn State, and he hired Matt Rule. I think he's a harder sell because whoever comes in basically has a 2-year window because you see what Indiana did in 2 years. They're going to expect – and this is Penn State. So usually what Matt Rule does, he builds slow, and there's no patience at Penn State right now. So while I think a lot of people want him there, I think that's a tougher sell for the alumni because at Baylor he won, but he won slowly, and he didn't win the big one. And in Nebraska so far – he hasn't won the big one either. So I think that he may be in the mix, but I think he'll be in the mix if other people say no. And they want Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame, and I can't blame him for wanting him.
Nick, you can't.
I can't blame him. I mean, in year 2, look what he did. He gets to the national championship game. He won. He beat Penn State when he needed to. He wins big games, and that's whoever gets the Penn State job next, they're going to expect to, not every year, but one of the years you got to beat Ohio State. You have to consistently, you have to at least be going up and down with Michigan. Oregon is a powerhouse. You got to be able to split with them. And that's something that the last guy didn't do, so they're going to demand it from the next guy.
So is Penn State a good enough job to say pull a guy away from Notre Dame, which is also a good job?
That's a good question. The question, I think, comes down to what happens the rest of the Notre Dame season. Now, they lost 2 games, the 0-2, but we now see that both those losses, those teams are ranked, 2 and 4.
Right.
So they lost the slouches, and they very well could win out. This USC game is going to play big. There's also money. He did get a raise, and $9 million is a lot of money, $9 million per year. Yeah. But it's not $12 million per year. It's not $13 million. The question is, how much would they be willing to pay him? He's, I think, 11th or 12th highest paid after, by the way, 2 years of coaching, Freeman. That's a big deal. Like 2 years of head coaching, period. He was never a head coach anywhere else in his life. He went from a D.C., he was with Cincinnati, came over for 1 year with Notre Dame, became the head coach, and in year 2, they gave he's the 11th highest paid coach in the country. So that's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah.
But if let's say they win 10 in a row, they make the playoff, and Penn State calls and goes, look, we'll wait for you till the playoffs is over. We're going to make you the highest. We're going to give you Kirby Smart money. We're going to give you Dabo Swinney money. Will Notre Dame match that? Probably not.
That's a good point.
Now, I will say this, and I admit this to both of you. I know this is not an option, but I'm someone who loves to piss off Mike Jones, and I couldn't find it on Facebook because my timeline reset. But I wanted to send you this picture, and I think you know where I'm going.
What is happening?
Josie was a picture of Deion Sanders in Penn State gear. And I wanted to send it to you just because I wanted to make you angry before the show started. I admit that.
Well, what do you think about that, Josie? Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders.
Just got a ranked win coming off
Mhm.
4 days after surgery. They beat Iowa State. They rushed the field out there in Colorado. What do you think? What you think?
Truth be told, I don't think that's the worst idea. I don't know that Deion would want Penn State.
Mm.
I think he'd take it. I think he'd take it.
He might, because it's a shot at a big boy conference in a major school. I think he probably would be at least intrigued.
I think the other, not to cut you off, I think the other part is I think the mortality makes him more likely to bring it. I believe that Deion, with all his confidence, thinks that he can build a team with the right money, the right booster, to where Colorado's at least winning the Big 12 every year, a la Texas Tech this year, and he can win a national championship. That's what I think he believed. But once you have so many blood clot issues, he might need to change his timeline personally. And if you're changing your personal timeline, you know what's a better job in that case? That Penn State job, because you're one recruiting class away.
Yeah.
I mean, you're one recruiting class away. And if you win 10 games, which is very doable, I mean, Franklin did that almost every year. You win 10 games, you're in the playoff every year. Like, you can lose your top 2 games basically every year. Like, had Franklin this year just lost to any combination, any 2 of the 3 of Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State, he makes the playoff.
Right.
And that's a really clean path. So I think that normally, I completely agree with you, but I do think his mortality will likely make him have to consider jobs he didn't consider before, because he might not have 10 more years to coach. And I'm not trying to wish anything bad on him. And it's not just about him, but he already lost the toes. Circulation, could it be leg, foot? If he was to be more disabled, just living a life, can you coach at that highest level? I don't know if you can. It's a strenuous job.
It is.
Especially with NIL and everything. It's more strenuous than it's ever been. So I think he might be forced to consider, if not necessarily Penn State, a different type of job where he can do things quicker, just because how long is he going to be able to coach?
No, I hear you. I still believe that the idea pisses Mike Jones off, and I'm so mad that I couldn't find that picture. I was going to send it to you, man. I was sitting like, I need to save this. Let me send this to Mike, because I just need that energy to start the show, and then I couldn't find it again. You know how your timeline just resets, and it sends you right to the back, and I'm just like,
See, if you really wanted to piss me off, you'd have said Charles Kelly.
See, that
although he is actually a decent college coach, that
would have pissed me off. See, the idea was to piss you off, not to have us both pissed off. I want no parts of the chipper. All right, I'm good on that. But it is what it is. But if we could circle back real quick to the Phillies, at this point now, you see the situation they're in. Rob Thompson is back. You know they're not getting rid of Trey Turner. You know they're not getting rid of Bryce Harper. So who, other than that, who stays, who goes? You see Real Muto up there. You see Kyle Schwarber up there. Who stays and who goes?
Well, you left. You didn't mention Castellanos. I think he has to go.
Yeah.
I actually think that there's a scenario where they look at Bader's year as a fluke, and if you look at the advanced stats with Bader, this year was so much better than his previous years that perhaps he was playing over his head in a contract year, where you have a whole new outfield next year. New left fielder, new center fielder, and new right fielder. And you bring up Crawford, so that's one of the spots. You probably put him in center. And then you find outside guys to play both left and right via either trade or free agency and completely change the lineup. Because what ended up happening is you were thin, especially once Bader had that injury. You saw in the outfield they were thin. They were light. They didn't have enough good players. You bring up Crawford, you give him that shot coming up. He plays center field for you. If nothing else, he gives you defense, but you need guys that can hit. And I think you end up changing the entire outfield completely. And then I think you're changing one of second base or third base. I don't think they change both, but I think they change one of them, whether it be Bohm or Stott. I think one of them go, and I think your entire outfield goes. And even if you that's a scenario where even if you brought back both Real Muto and Schwarber, you're still changing 5 of the guys. 5 of the guys in your everyday lineup. That would be a big difference. You know who your DH would be. You know who your catcher would be, first and shortstop, but you make a change at second or third, and then all 3 outfield spots.
You have your choice. Who do you keep, Bohm or Stott?
For me, it would end up being Stott because he'd be cheaper. Now, he's my 9-hole hitter. He has not proven that he's a better hitter, but he's a gold glove level glove over there. And then I find a third baseman that'll hit a damn home run.
Would you
can't have
ever
a third baseman that slaps. I can't. The slaps at the ball. I can't have it.
Would you ever consider moving Bryce back to the outfield?
Yes, but who's playing first? Now, if it's Pete Alonso, yes. It has to be the right guy at first base. I need guy because obviously we're watching the Phillies and we're disappointed about the lack of hits they're putting together. But look at what the Brewers just did against that same pitching staff. They got 4 hits in 2 games. So I'm not giving that as an excuse for the Phillies. What I'm saying is hits are few and far between in this postseason. So when you do hit it, I need that thing to fly. So if I get another slugger at first base, absolutely I put Harper in right. I put Crawford in center. Then I just need to find a new left fielder. But either way, I'm changing 5 guys in my lineup year over year. 5 guys got to be different out of those 9.
Do you think Pete Alonso is a realistic chase though? Do you think there's a chance they make that move or that could even happen?
It could happen because of the Scott Boras thing. And Bryce Harper is a Boras guy. Bryson Stott is a Boras guy. Their top pitching prospect is a Boras guy. Because they dealt with Boras that much, if they cut the check, he can come there. And also, I think John Middleton's a little frustrated. I think with not winning the whole thing. So you push the chips in. And if you put Pete Alonso at first base, you're talking about a guy who, if he gets to it, it flies. You don't have guys rolling the ball over with them little slap hits. And they had too many guys that were doing that at the end of the day. And if I'm only going to get 4 hits, I need 4 chances that the ball might go into the seats. And that's what the Dodgers have going. That's what the Brewers had all season. They have not had it in the first 2 games of the World Series of the NLCS at all. You look at what the Mariners are doing. Those guys are driving the ball. I think you need more guys like that and less guys like they had. Like, I don't need Marsh back. I don't need Marsh back.
I've seen enough of Marsh.
Yeah, I've seen enough of that. I don't need Bo. And again, Bo is getting close to making real money in arbitration. And he does it. When was the last time he hit a big home run? Like, even if we're mad at people, we remember Bryce Harper hitting big home runs in our lives.
Right.
We remember Kyle Schwarber hitting home runs. When was you need a guy in that corner who can hit with some power. Like, yes, he hits for average. Yes, he hits those doubles and stuff, but we see that doesn't help you win. That doesn't help you win.
Like, Reese Hoskins has been in Milwaukee for the last few years, and I remember him hitting big ones.
Impactful hits. But I do think that the other thing that ends up helping is Schwarber's asking for a lot of money right now. The market may humble him. Meaning, I don't know what those DH types. Last season, there was not a. If you look, why did Alonso have to take a 1-year deal this past year with a player option? Because he's a DH type. He plays first, but he's a DH type. There's not a lot of value in those guys in free agency. Now, maybe this year's market's different, but I think if you're patient, you wait. And I mean, we're only in October. You're probably looking at January, February before a lot of these deals get done. I think there's a way to afford them both, because what if Schwarber goes out there and says, I want 5 years, but the best offer he gets is 3? Well, he'd rather have 3 here than 3 somewhere else. Same thing goes with Alonso. Last year, he was only getting 1- and 2-year options, so he goes back to the Mets, had a better season, hit for like 40 points better than average, led the National League in doubles. But if the market's not there, as far as years go, well, Bryce Harper already said he was willing to move to the outfield for him. So, hey, is that deal still good, Bryce? All right, we're going to go get him.
I hear you.
Yeah. That's kind of exactly why I asked the question, because I know we've been talking about outfielders with Pop since we moved Bryce to the infield. Yeah. And Castellanos seemed to have lost his bat. I don't know what he did with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so
lost his bat, lost his faith in the manager. Like I didn't, when I was talking about who stays or who goes, I meant to keep Castellanos out, because I just feel like that's just a foregone conclusion. That's too far gone. He don't like the manager. I'm pretty sure the manager don't mess with him no more. So it's like, hey, and they draw, and the team is drawing their line in the sand.
The manager gave him a very long leash. Every day there was Castellanos for a long time before he started eventually having to pull him out.
Yeah.
You can't have beef with Rob. Rob Thompson may have been too faithful to Castellanos.
He may have been. I mean, he let him play all 162 in 2024. I mean, you can't get much more low. And after the whatever July 1st, he was their fourth best outfielder. So they treat him like he was their fourth best outfielder. I mean, he just was. And if anything, he should have been able to internalize that better. And the good year, they could not move him 2 years ago. They couldn't move him last year. I think with 1 year left, they can move him. And that's the advantage. They gave him an extra year. Maybe that was a mistake in hindsight, but I think it's movable because whoever brings him in is bringing him in on a 1 year deal.
Yep. All right, time for the main course, sir.
Yeah.
We've talked about every team that has lost in the last week except for one.
Yeah.
And that would be that would be the Philadelphia Eagles, sir.
Okay. So start with Nick Sirianni. See, this is the thing. Nick Sirianni's supposed to be an offensive mind.
Yes.
Why is it when he doesn't have a super experienced offensive coordinator who tells him to get out of the room? Why does the offense look this way? Because it's him trying to help, and I wish he would stop. Look at what the Colts are doing with Indiana Jones, as they're calling him now, with Steichen, because that guy knows how to call offense. The Saints were supposed to be the worst team in football, and I'm not saying they're good, but he got Spencer Rattler having him in almost every game down there. He got them Spencer Rattler, who none of us think they're probably going to try to replace him in the draft next year. But they're in games. Like they just beat the same Giants team that kicked the Eagles' butts, the Saints beat. Like they're already won more games. They were supposed to be Titans bad. They were supposed to be Jets bad, and they're not because their offense is passable. So it starts with the head coach. The other part was last year's offense was, I thought at the time that there would be unintended consequences, and the consequences I thought it was going to be most guys to get as many carries as Saquon does the following year, those guys take a step back. But I don't necessarily think it's Saquon. I think it kicked Lander Dickerson's butt. I think Cam Jurgens has been terrible so far this year. And they got a new right guard who I think his poor play has been more related to the guy to the left of him than him himself in Steen. Looking at it, and I think it beat them up as much as everything else. So you take an offense where everybody else knows the plays before they run.
And Lane's been banged up this year.
Right, and missed time. Fred Johnson had to save him in that Rams game.
Right.
So I think when you add a complete offensive coordinator / head coach who has no imagination whatsoever with a banged up offensive line from beating on people all last year, we probably shouldn't be overly surprised by this. And they've had an extremely tough schedule. They had to already play Dallas, which Dallas is Dallas, but that's a high-powered offense, and that was opening week. You already had to play the Bucs on the road. They're 5-1. That's their only loss. They already had to play the Rams. They already played the Chiefs at the Chiefs. That's been an extremely tough schedule as well to start the season. I think that this isn't completely unpredictable. I'm not happy, but I do think there is a path to fixing it. And the if is leave the offensive coordinator alone, Nick, and stop, because this looks like 2 years ago when you meddled. And two, you got to let guys, you might have to make some sacrifice on the offensive line to get guys healthy. You can't have these half measures like Landon Dickerson's back at practice today. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. He did miss last game. They did have extra time. Is he healthy enough to be out there? And is Cam Jurgens healthy enough to be out there? If they're not, you might have to take another L to get that offensive line actually healthy. Because I don't think those guys are healthy up front.
In my opinion, the strength of this team last year was how that offensive line was able to literally dominate the line of scrimmage beginning to end of every game. They were the bullies out there. This year, they don't look the same. So I agree with you when we say it starts with them because they set the tone for this team, how they played last year. Saquon had the fourth most rushing yards or fourth or fifth most rushing yards in the league before contact. He had over 1,000 yards before contact last year.
Contact. And now this year, he's getting hit in the backfield. He's already been hit in the backfield more this year than all of last year.
Right.
So that goes back to the offensive line. So A.J. Brown can get upset and all that stuff. I think a lot of that's fixable. That part I do think is schematically fixable. I think it'll look a little bit better against the Vikings. They're going to blitz a lot, so we'll see how they do with their hot reads and all those things. But I do think that part's fixable. But if they can't block at that level, then maybe you can win a division. Maybe you can win a playoff game. But you can't win a Super Bowl with this current offensive line. No way.
And you talk about the offensive line. You talk about Cam Jurgens. Let's stick with that for a second. And the players surrounding him, the two guards surrounding him, have been banged up.
Yeah,
banged up, and you walked away from Mekhi Becton, and that's a guy you could have. I think you could have kept, but you let him go. But you have Cam Jurgens.
By the way, not to cut you off, I heard that there were some things off the field where he couldn't come back.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
There was something like if you Google his name and his offseason he had, I don't think he could have come back. Like, he's not in prison or anything, but perhaps like
it was in his best. It was in his best interest for a change of scenery. He needed a change of scenery.
Yes, no. and if I can say if what he's doing continues, he'll be with the Chargers 1 year.
Oh boy.
Yeah, not going to prison, but apparently there was some things where perhaps Big Dom had to do some things to make sure everything was smooth, and they couldn't do it. Like maybe they would have wanted to, but perhaps I heard that they couldn't do it.
Oh boy. Now that I didn't hear, but that's why Ty Johnson got his ears to the streets out here. Ty Johnson he has sources that we just don't have, Jonesy.
Listen, y'all could have asked. No. I honestly think if you guys start asking around, they'll tell you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, not criminal things, but like
problematic things.
Problematic. Yeah, no.
Problematic enough to where you know what? Like, keep on moving.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand.
Just get as far away as possible.
But then and with that still leaves us with what we have now, which unfortunately is not good enough, which is not protecting the ball, which is not, we were so good in the trenches on both sides of the ball last season. And now both sides of the ball look like they have taken a step back, on the defensive side. You got a guy retiring in right after week 6.
Yeah. Well, that's Howie Rose, but now fans love Howie has built up a lot of goodwill. But I remember saying, are we sure that we can just go Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt, and call it good? And fans blindly said, yeah. And I thought that Isaiah Rodgers should have definitely came back, and you should have just made him the starter. The Vikings did. The Vikings didn't sign him. They were apparently, if they were going to bring him back, they were talking about competing with Kelee Ringo. Cut it out. He already beat Kelee Ringo out. Like, cut it out with that Kelee Ringo stuff. Like, last year when Slade went down, because obviously Quinion was out there the whole time, who they put in every time? They put in Isaiah Rodgers. Apparently, when they were talking to him, they go, no, we really like Kelee, so we bring you back and you'll be in competition. Meanwhile, Minnesota was saying, well, if you come here, you'll start. And he's been excellent for them. Howie got too cute. Kelee Ringo can't play. And then they realized he couldn't play, so they go get a Dory Jackson, who also can't play. Isaiah Rodgers is a starting corner, and that was only 2 years, $7.5 million. But the difference was it was 2 years, $7.5 million, where after 1 year they're going to have to redo your deal if you're a really good player because they're going to be worried about you being disgruntled and stuff. So the Vikings said, we're signing you to be a starter. Howie said, we'll bring you back for a maybe. And he figures, well, it's clearly I'm better, so this maybe really means we're going to go with the guy we drafted. So that's why he didn't come back. So those two mistakes of just blindly thinking Nolan Smith and Jalen Hunt he was supposed to be a red shirt last year. He did overachieve. But now he goes from 3 years ago, he's a safety in the Ivy League. 2 years ago, he's at a school none of us ever heard of, like Texas, Louisiana, like he's not even at a real school. Last year, they thought he was going to be a red shirt. He ends up obviously playing well, and then NFL starter. And he looks to me like a guy who's not yet ready, and I'm not saying he won't ever be. He's not ready to be an NFL starter. And then Smith, who has had shoulder issues, had a shoulder issue. And you didn't have Sweat. You didn't have BG. And you didn't replace them. But I think Howie had a little too much hubris. If I pick them, they automatically great. No, they're not automatically great. And then the other part was the spit was stupid by Carter, but he's been banged up as well. And I think he likely should have sat out a game before with the shoulder and the heel before this past game against the Giants. That's the other part where I think guys are pretty banged up. So again, the Carter part can get fixed, but the corner and the ends, I don't know. I don't know if that can get fixed.
Unless we're talking about how we going to make a trade, it seems like everybody's holding their breath for Cincinnati's season to be over so they can try to get a riddle off the edge from them.
Yeah, get Trey Hendrickson, and listen, he'll definitely get you double-digit sacks. I mean, definitely, 100%. You get a guy who's going to get you double-digit sacks. That would make a huge. So now, if you have Hendrickson, you have your rotation with Hendrickson, Jalen Hunt, and now and Nolan. Now you got something going with Nolan Smith Jr. But just those two guys, I don't think that's enough. I don't think it doesn't appear that they're ready to be full-time guys, both physically, in the case of Nolan Smith Jr. holding up, and then mentally with Hunt, where I think it's a lot going on in his head right now. I got to set the edge. I got to do all these things when he was not asked to do that last year because BG was there for a good chunk of the year. And Josh Sweat was out there a whole lot. And
Nolan Smith was ahead of him in the rotation.
Right. So he was able to pick in. And I think that maybe week 12 he's ready. But he definitely wasn't ready so far. And if he's not ready Sunday, they could lose to Minnesota. So they could lose to Carson Wentz.
I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for just the vitriol. I'm not ready for, we talk to people about taking those social media breaks. I might
need one.
Yeah, I would need one. There isn't even a mic. I would need one. We come out there, we lose to 3 in a row. It's going to be an implosion. It's just going to.
Wentz throws for 4 touchdowns, and Jalen Hurts has a statistically bad game where he's under 200 yards.
It's going to happen.
1 touchdown.
Then you'll need a break. And the good thing is, the best thing that happened was Quignon was back out of practice. So it appears. So now you have one corner spot to worry about. If he wasn't out there, they would have definitely lost. And if he doesn't play, and he's going to play. But if he didn't play, they would definitely lose to Minnesota. With those wide receivers, with these quarters, and this lack of pass rush, they definitely would have lost in that dome. On a fast track, no pass rush and no corners.
I don't want to see Keely Ringo against Minnesota's top wide receiver. I don't want to see him anywhere. I don't
want to see him against Justin Jefferson. I don't want to see him against Jordan Addison.
No, no, you do not. So
I don't think I've ever not wanted to see an Eagles player play as much as I did not want to see Keely Ringo by the end of that Giants game. When I'm just like, I just need this man off my television as quickly as possible.
What good is it to be a big corner if you're not physical? The advantage of a big, historically, outside of Bobby Taylor, we remember him. There's this magical thing that no matter how fast the big football players are, the average cornerback is between 5'9" and 6'1", and they're 185 pounds. That's how, like Quignon, that's how they always are. Bobby Taylor was an anomaly. There's always some anomalies. But Ringo's supposed to be bigger, like a safety and all that stuff. What's the point of having a guy like that at least be physical? He's not physical. He doesn't tackle wide receivers well. He doesn't fill in on the run well. The advantage of being big should be, okay, and he is quick going. He's fast, but he's not quick. He's as a
straight line speed he has.
He has, but he's not good there. But you know what? That's okay because you put your body on people. They're not running the routes they want to run because you're physical with them. He's not that either.
Oh.
So he doesn't have the quick hips, and he's not physical. I don't need a big corner who doesn't have that. You got to be one or the other. If you're going to be big, you got to be quick. Or if you're going to be big, you got to be physical. So now that guy can't run the slant because you put your body on him. He doesn't do any of those things. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do any of it. He doesn't do it. He does none of them.
No, see, and now
I'm
I got PTSD from that Giants game. Now I'm just sitting there. I'm sitting there looking at time. I'm looking back at times, watching Keely Ringo not be physical with people, watching him get burnt, watching him miss tackles, and it hurts. It's painful.
Yeah.
Do you think the Eagles would have any interest in a reunion with CJ GJ? He is actually officially available now that he played. He was on the 4th game with someone else's roster, so the Eagles are eligible to re-sign him now.
Yeah, I don't think so, and I think it's because he poisoned things on the way out, apparently. And I think they're tired of the antics. Now, another injury at safety, and maybe. Mm-hmm. But I think they're healthy at safety right now. They're not healthy, obviously, at corner, but they've been healthy at safety. I think it would take an injury. And I think at that point, they're not in a position to be picky. But I think they still like Makuba. And the thing about him is we knew he was an undersized guy. It's going to take him a while to mature physically. Mm-hmm. But I do think he has some playmaking ability. So I think they're going to be patient with him, unfortunately, and let it ride out. And then you won't see him get physically bigger this year, but you get smarter this year, and then hopefully he gets bigger next year. I think they're going to be patient with him. Unless there's an injury, and then I think they would call on him.
And that was kind of my thinking and why we might bring CJ back, because it would give Makuba the year to develop physically, and you could have a rotation. I might not keep Gardner Johnson on the field for every play, but he did bring an edge and level of violence to this defense that seemed to work well for them on the field.
Well, then explain why 2 teams have said, "Nah, I'm good."
Oh, I understand. I
think they're going to wait. They're going to they made a value judgment. They thought Makuba was going to be better. I don't think 6 games are going to make them change
it. And when you say 2 teams, if you look over the last couple years, the Lions, he was there 1 year. They said you can go. From the first time he was here, we was here 1 year. You can go. The Saints were willing to let him go. We brought him back for a year, let him go again. Like he can't stick anywhere.
Right. So I think they're going to be patient with it. Now, it might be frustrating to see, and it'd be nice if he gets another interception like he did in that Chiefs game, but I think they're going to be patient with him. And the other thing that might help get CJ back is Sidney Brown stinks. Mm-hmm. I really liked him out of college. He can't play. Like his special teams will look like he can't play. Every time he's in the game, something bad happens when he's on the defense. He's not a good player. I hate to say it, but Sidney Brown was supposed to be, when they drafted, to be a starter, like they thought Ringo was going to be a starter, and he's just not. He's just not. Maybe he needs a different system, but he's just not. So I don't think it's impossible, but I think they're going to wait.
No, I hear you. And Jones, you made a good point about the edge and what he kind of, as a player, the way he plays. Like I get that, but I also see what Ty was saying. The way he went out at the end of this run, at the end of this run with the Eagles, you come back, they bring you back. It was obvious that they missed him in 2024. You saw it immediately that they missed
23.
Yeah, in 23. Yeah, 23. Sorry. Yep. They missed him in 2023. Bring him back for 2024. The defense is better. They win a Super Bowl, but then again, they walk away. And
you hear stories about interactions with teammates and
you see what he was talking about with Slay.
Right.
All Slay said was, with me gone, I think that the leadership will be fine. All he did was name the people from the leadership council, and then he's mad that he didn't get named. He wasn't with the leadership council.
Right.
So the reason he named Blankenship and Quignon, they were leaders. He also didn't say guys
designated team leaders.
That's all he named. He said no. The guy basically he's saying the guys other than me in the room, they're good leaders. He didn't say he wasn't a leader. He was saying these are the guys, and then he gets into a Twitter beef with them. What was with the deal with the shirt with Taylor Swift? Now, I thought the shirt was funny at the parade, but why are you doing that? Like, it's a lot of kids there. Why are you wearing a profane shirt to the parade? Now, listen, I'm not trying to be like, I'm too, like, I don't curse. I'm saying that there's a lot of kids there. No one else wore a shirt with curse words on it. No one else. You have 52 teammates and coaches there, plus practice squad guys, all wearing clothes at the parade. One guy's got a shirt with curses on it. Why?
Mhm.
And then think about other parades. Like the Chiefs have won. Like I've seen other parades over the years. Like, you know, the Patriots. I never see anybody wearing shirts.
When nobody at the Chiefs parades taking shots at the Eagles player's girlfriend, you know?
No, like they worried about celebrating. So I think, and I can't even say it's maturity. Actually, you know what? I can't say it's maturity because you forget how young these humans are. Like he's now not a young guy for a football player, but in life he's a young person. And I think he's just too immature to not be playing at a really high level. If he's playing at a high level, you can tolerate it. But clearly this year, two teams think, well, the Ravens didn't think he could play at all. Right. And the Texans started him and said, not only are we not starting you anymore, we're cutting you.
He was cut after 3 games.
3 games.
Like
the Ravens signed him and then traded for another safety.
and then allegedly he goes to, right. Well, he goes, I want to find a place that's easier for me to start. You notice he didn't sign with anybody.
Exactly. He's still out there.
He's there. So there's hope there, Jonesy. There's hope. He's still there. In fact,
I think he's going to be around. I think he'll be available. I don't want to wish for anybody to get hurt, but if Blankenship was to go down or something like that, I think at that point they would make the call.
Real quick, jump back to the offensive side of the ball. Is this really a soap opera between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, or is this much ado about nothing?
He's a wide receiver. They're all crazy. It's just a matter of levels. And they're all crazy. He's just a wide receiver. It's fine. I'm sure Devontae's not happy either. First of all, those guys didn't like the offense last year. So some of this is residual. So I believe what they wanted deep down was for Jalen to go in there and go, nah, man, I need to be passing. I'm a quarterback. But Jalen literally only cares about winning. Those guys did not like that offense, and I don't blame them. If I was a wide receiver, I would have hated last year's offense. But we're going to win the Super Bowl. And then we come back this year, and we still don't have it running stuff. So I know every wide receiver wants the ball. That's human nature. So what's going to happen is they figure out that this offensive line is good at something. Maybe they're better pass blockers than run blockers. They figure out schematically what they're good at. And if it's passing, all of a sudden A.J. Brown will be happy. Like, because he won't care if Saquon don't get the ball at all. And Saquon, he won't care. If Saquon ends up with 800 yards this season, but A.J. Brown starts getting 10, 12 targets a game, he's going to be happy. So I think this is residual from, I'm going to do this because it helps you win.
Do you think Saquon's cut from the same cloth as Jalen, as in, hey, man, we winning. So if they're throwing more and we're winning, Saquon will be good?
For a year. But then next year he goes.
The next year will be.
Yeah, but the other part is that's why it was smart. This is a good move by how he made sure everybody got paid. He gave Saquon that extra money. So here's a little extra cheese on your Whopper, so that if it does happen this way, hey, what you complain about? I just gave you top running back money. You know I care. You know I believe in you. Hey, things are just happening. But I do think that may end up being what has to happen is you're going to have to trust Jalen more. You're going to have to push the ball downfield more. But I can't, at the same time, I can't blame the Eagles for at least trying what they did last year because it was so successful. You got to at least try it. Like, we won playing a certain way. This is our identity. So you got to try it. If maybe they go another week, because at that point, it'd be, 7 games? If it's not working after 7 games, that next Giants game, they look at the film and the Eagles will probably do everything different offensively. The Giants will go watch the film. Look, we dominate them, and the Eagles probably come out against the Giants and do everything differently. If it doesn't work against Minnesota this
Jonesy,
week.
does that scare you, the thought of Jalen Hurts throwing more? Be honest.
How much more?
I mean, I think
that's the thing. If we're in the 25 to 30 range, sure. I'm good with that.
But he threw 24 last year. Moore is not 25 to 30. No, he's going to probably have to throw the ball 33 to 40 times more often. And I think you're just going to have to trust it. If you don't trust it, or you're at least going to have to get situations where he throws 24 through 3 quarters, and you pass to get the lead, and you run to keep the lead. A la Troy Aikman back in the day. Like, Troy Aikman's numbers aren't great, but if you look at Troy Aikman the first 3 quarters, his numbers were tremendous. And then in the 4th quarter, hey, Emmitt
Smith,
come bring us home. I think you might have to see more of that. But maybe he ends up throwing 30 times, 28 times, but that might be through 3 quarters, and he only throws 2, 3, 4 times just to keep him honest in the 4th quarter, because now you're giving the pill to Saquon. But I think they might have to start changing how they play, because They had 7 months to look at what the Eagles did on offense.
Mm-hmm.
Every team has 7 months.
So
they know the plays. You can't run the same ones.
Here's my concern, though. In 21, the first 6 games or so, 7 games, they tried volume passing.
Yeah,
it didn't look good. In 23, they passed at a higher volume, and that turnover rate was not good.
Yeah. Okay.
The start of 24, those first 4 games, they were passing the ball more. The turnover rate again was high. They were 2-2. I get at some point you have to trust the quarterback more for the offense to work. But what evidence do we have that it will, when every time we've seen it, it's felt like he was just going to turn it over too much?
Well, see, that's a small sample size, though. That the start when they were off to 10-0, he wasn't turning the ball over then. That was down the stretch, and you're going with a 4-game sample size. It's not a full season worth of games. You don't have a choice, and also you don't have a choice. You paid him. You can't pay. You paid him. You don't have a choice. I need to make sure I give him every opportunity to play the position traditionally before, and then I can go back to Saquon. But right now, everybody knows what's coming. I got to get in certain run formations and pass. Right now, they got a situation where they're 80% out of the pistol. They're going to run it every time. Well, I need to get in the pistol and pass it 80% of the time to break tendencies. So, and that's another part where we talk about the passing game. If they know when they're going to pass, because they pass out of the same formations, no quarterback's going to be successful.
If you're under center, you're running. It's a run every time if he's under
every
center.
Time. Right. Every time under center, it's a run. So how about under center, play action, they bite on the run, slant across to A.J. Brown. They haven't done that not once this season. They've run slants. They've done 0 play action slants to A.J. Brown this season. How about do that on the 3rd play of the game? Even if you run Saquon the first 2. All right, let's say he gets 2 yards on them. It's 3rd and 8. Here goes Saquon. Even if it's predictable, they won't know what to do because they haven't done it. Every single analyst in the world says when you look at the all 22, you know the plays before they snap it. So am I going to blame the quarterback who only has 1 interception this year, or am I going to blame the scheme? I got to blame the scheme. Now, if they break tendencies and then he's throwing picks, then I'm 100% with you, Jonesy. But I can't pay this dude all this money. I got all this merchandise getting sold. I got him on the cover of every magazine for him to hand off. Go earn that money. You got to go earn that money for now. Saquon earned his last year. You got to go earn your money. I don't have a choice because I ain't going to be going down doing the same old thing.
No, I'm with you.
I'm not going to I ain't doing it. If I'm Sirianni, I got to do something different. They ridiculing me. I'm getting ridiculed all around the city. I'm getting ridiculed nationwide.
I'm with you completely. The reason I frame it that way is honestly, it feels like Kevin Patullo is calling plays in a manner where he doesn't trust the quarterback.
Right, and you can't treat him like that. Hurts probably needs to be more selfish right now for the first time.
Just speak up and be like, look, this isn't working. This is what we got to do. I'm the one out there. Let's get this done. Oh,
yep.
And well, you hear about all these meetings and side meetings and powwows and parking lot conversations. How come this is not being brought up? How come you're hearing these things and then you come out on Sunday and see the same old thing?
Well, I mean, mostly it's the players. And also, like the first meeting happened when they were still 4-0. Like, it's very hard for the players to go to the coaches and go, we got to do something different when you're winning every week. Now, I believe the mini bye after the loss, you probably got their attention. Because if I'm Sirianni, I don't care what people are talking about when I'm 4-0, especially when the 4-0 includes a Chiefs win, a Bucks win, and a Rams win, and a Cowboys win. Like, I'm sorry, if those are the 4 teams I beat, and I've had the toughest schedule in the league to start, and I'm 4-0, yeah, y'all can talk that noise, and I'm listening, but I ain't changing nothing until we start losing. Because fans care about how. Coaches don't care about how. Coaches don't care about how because they know how hard it is to win, period.
Nah, you know what they say. You know what they say. You start listening to the fans, you end up joining them,
Right. But you lose to the Giants the way you did.
Right.
Now we might have a different conversation.
Yeah,
I think
that is true.
Will be. I think there will be. I think there will be. Because even even the Broncos game, you can talk, hey, we went down in the end, we got stale. When you lose to the Giants, fresh off their loss to the Saints, I think now's the time. So I believe that's why. I honestly think that, like, we won a Super Bowl last year doing it this way. We're 4-0 doing it this way. And y'all complaining? Like, I hear, listen, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. But now you lose 2 in a row.
Now the conversation's a little bit different. All right, maybe you got something here. Maybe, yeah. So now here we are, week 7.
Yeah.
You know, we traveling to Minnesota, possibly seeing Carson Wentz again. Do you expect change? How confident are you that you will see a ship on its direct, being righted? It might not look perfect or whatever, but you'll see improvements. How confident?
And Brian Flores is a good DC.
He's an excellent DC. I think you'll see tendency changes right away. That'll be noticeable. But I don't think the defense is going to be better this week. I think offensively, I don't think they're going to get shut out in the second half again, for example. But I do think this is a tough spot. And you also have a guy who blitzes a lot. So A.J. Brown might want these slower developing pass plays. This is not the week to do that. It's not the week,
yeah.
It is not the week to do that because they're going to blitz 75% of the time. You don't know where it's coming from, but they're going to bring more than 4 75% of the time. There's going to be disguised well and stuff. So I don't think this is a great week to try a bunch of crazy stuff, but it would be nice for them to not know run or pass before they snap the ball. That you can change. But I don't think you're going to get double moves. I don't think you're going to have time. You got a leaky offensive line and the team's bringing extra rushers. I don't think you're going to see a lot of deep shots. I think you're going to need a lot of quick hitters, but it would be nice. Maybe you throw a screen pass, something to a running back, something they have not done this season to beat a blitz. I think you might see some of that stuff, but I have a lot of concerns about the defense probably until November when Nolan Smith is back. Because I do think he's farther along than Jalen Hunt is, and maybe I question him physically, can he hold up? But he's a good football player when he's out there, but they don't have a pass rush. So now you're going to have Carson Wentz back there comfortable with great receivers at home.
I'm not ready to watch Carson Wentz carve up this team, man.
But he's going to be throwing Adoree. I know we don't like Ringo, but Adoree is no bargain. And you think they're going to be picking on Quinyon? No. They're going to be looking for, as you were saying, with Adoree. That's what they're going to be doing. They're going to get Adoree on an island. They're going to run motion and stuff to try to draw the safeties away. And it's going to be one-on-one. And then if Adoree's lucky, he'll tackle him before the ball gets there. Because otherwise it's a touchdown. That's my concern. I think the defense is going to take longer than the offense. I honestly think the offense, by the end of the Giants game, we're going to say the offense is okay. But I don't know if we're going to be saying that about the defense by the end of the Giants game. So I'm trying to take it the next 2 weeks. I believe we're going to see the offense be better. I really, really, truly believe that. But they might still give up 30 points again. Like, I can't rule that out.
Trying to figure out what to make it at.
Who's going to rush the passer? And they're not trading for a corner yet. So unless you believe that Eli Ricks, I'm trying to think, they're going to have to try somebody else. Like, that's where we're at right now. Adoree and Ringo, we know what we get. So maybe because of injuries, Eli Ricks, who they put back on the practice squad, maybe he's up. I know guys that cover the team that thought last year he was better than Ringo all year. But because he's not a special teams player, where Ringo is really good at that. He's a great gunner. He's good at those things. That's why he didn't dress. Because remember, they had him on the roster all year, but didn't dress him because he doesn't play special teams. There's a lot of people who cover this team that think Eli Ricks is a better corner, just as far as corner, than Ringo. Ringo's a better football player because of the special teams. Maybe you have to do something like that.
But in a situation where you need a body that you can put in coverage, that's not what Ringo does.
Right. You know? But that's what they were hoping he would develop to. We haven't seen it. But Eli Ricks, for all his negatives, does appear to be better at covering a human being. But and people say, well, why hasn't he stuck? Because he doesn't play special teams. And most backup corners do. So he didn't play special teams here. Wherever he goes without playing special teams, his value to them is low. Ringo will probably play 10 years in the league because you need a gunner. You need a guy who's physical on special teams where he somehow is.
With that defense, size and straight line speed, he's perfectly suited for his special teams. He's straight line go.
Boom. And he'll get down there and he'll make that tackle, and he's fast, and he creates penalties and havoc on special teams. So again, I'm not saying he doesn't have a role, but it's not starting corner. It's not.
Well, Ty, on the Jonesy and Brown show, we have completely abolished game predictions.
Oh, that's good.
We did that last year, and Eagles went on a roll and won it all. And we decided predictions will never come back to this show.
Great.
But
all right.
I would like to know final expectations. You know, not a score, not anything. Just what are your expectations?
How do you see the game playing out?
Yeah.
I think the defense is still going to struggle. Now Carson Wentz might just throw it to the other team, throw it straight to the other team. That's still in him. But I'm talking about as far as. But when I answer that, I'm thinking about things the Eagles can actually control. Somebody gifting you an interception, that's a gift. If he just throws it to the other team, and you just happen to be standing there. But I think the defense is still going. I think the defense might even be. I think they'll be more physical than they were against the Giants, where they got their butts kicked in that way. But I don't think they'll be more precise. I got real questions about that secondary. I got real questions about the pass rush, unless they do something different personnel-wise. Maybe you play Nakobe Dean more at linebacker and do something different with other guys. But with the current personnel, I don't think they're going to be able to develop much of a pass rush still. But I do think the offense has too many good players, and they've had too much time for it not to be better. Not perfect, but better. Because I'm sure they started that Thursday night coming back on the bus and the train from the Meadowlands. I'm sure they started working on this game plan. I do think the offense, and Dickerson apparently is healthy now. Is he going to be healthy for a whole game? But apparently he feels better now than he did before. I wonder about that. And so I think off the mini-bye, you see a better offense, a more physical but still shaky defense. And then I think the chance to get it going would be Giants game, then the bye week, and then you might be cooking with something. I think you get through Minnesota, you get revenge on the Giants, you have the bye week, and then the season starts.
I'll take it, man. Ty, it's been real, man. I enjoy having you back on here for real, listening to you talk Philadelphia sports, man. For real. I enjoy listening to you, man. Look, it's been a while. It's been a few months since you've been on the air on a daily basis talking Philly sports. So for people who like Jonesy and I, who have always been fans of you, and people who listen to you every day, for those listeners, how are you doing, man?
No, I'm doing well. You do different things now. Working for Craig Carton show, working for Fox Sports, which is national, which is nice. It's a nice change. I miss talking Philly sports, but it was time for a change. And sometimes you have to get pushed into a change. So I'm having a good time. You could people can download the Craig Carton show to podcast. Everywhere you get your podcast, you can watch it on YouTube. It's live on Sports.
I do have to ask a question.
Yeah,
Craig Carton.
Yeah,
what I recall, he's a known Philly sports hater.
Yeah, even though his wife is a Philadelphia fan, his daughter's a diehard Philadelphia sports fan.
Yeah. How does that work?
How does that happen? How does that even happen?
Well, he's from New Rochelle. He's from up there.
Okay.
But I believe that it happened because a lot of people like messing with their wives. And his in-laws and all them are all Philadelphia fans. And that's where that comes from. But it comes from the jealousy of being a New York fan, and Philadelphia is a superior sports city. That's what it comes down to. Period.
And he lets you just come on and because it's not like you're coming on his show and being incorrect. I mean, you're pretty much you're right.
It bothers everybody. It's my greatest flaw is how correct I am. It's a real problem. It's a real problem. It's a real problem, fellas.
Well, you say
rightness.
I understand.
It's a burden.
Look,
JB won't understand it. It's a burden, though.
No, you'd be surprised how much I understand it. But then again, you see how long I've worked with Jonesy, and it's hard being right week in and week out. And like people don't understand. It's like every week I do a show. We turn these microphones on, we turn these webcams on, and somebody on this show has to be correct. So I understand because I'm usually the one that's right.
These tapes still exist, right?
I know, right? You guys, I didn't try to cause that, but yeah.
It's already been caused. Don't worry about it, Ty.
And I can't talk about it too much. You'll be seeing me do stuff in Philly still soon as well. So I'm not going anywhere. But it was time to go out and branch out and see if I can take what I do to other places.
No, I hear you. You said it was time for you to branch out. You were at 97.5 for a long time. How long were you there? You were there for?
I was there from what? I was on the air there from 2018 to 2005, 25, and I was on TV like every day for 7 years.
Oh yeah.
So it was it was a lot. Plus outsiders and all that stuff. So it was everything's good, but it was time to see, does this work somewhere else? And so far so good.
Man, it's always, and part of the reason why we've always been a fan of you and how we've always liked you is because it's been so hard for our people to find proper representation on these airwaves here. It's like, how often did people come up to you? Like I've talked, you and I have talked on and talked about just that. Like, how often did people come up to you and talk about just everything you represented being on the air every day?
Yeah, often. That's the toughest part. Actually, the only regret. The goal was hopefully for more people that look like us to get opportunities. Mm-hmm. And instead, it kind of went the other way. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say too much, but that's the part where that was disappointing because what could have been something that was unique and special ended up, at the end of the day, everything ended up looking exactly the same in the long run. So that's the only regret from my time there, because I'm really proud of everything I did day in and day out. But that part is the problem, is the only problem really, is the goal was for me to be the first of many, especially since I didn't play pro sports. Because again, to talk sports, it's a shame when some people have to have literally been one of the 1% of the 1% to talk about it, and everyone else can be just the guy. Right. And that's the part that bothered me, because I don't think that we should have had to play pro sports to talk about sports when everyone is not required to have played pro sports to talk about sports.
And you're right. And it's unfortunately that has been the narrative for decades, as long as sports talk has been a thing in the city of Philadelphia.
But and by the way, not just Philadelphia. It's like that in New York. It's like that in Miami. It's like that almost everywhere. Chicago, where in order to talk sports, for some, you had to have played pro sports. Other ones can win a contest. They can go to broadcast school. They can do basically anything else. They can write about sports. And then the other person had to play pro sports. And that, again, I just wanted to say, it's not just a Philadelphia thing. That's an America thing. And that's the one part I regret. I was hoping that I would lead to more, not less, and instead it led to less.
But in the absence of that representation, I feel like people have chosen other paths to fill that void. Back in the day used to be the barbershop talk.
Yep.
I would always tell people, like, I had better, I've had better sports conversations waiting for a haircut than I did listening on the radio.
Yeah.
But now you got social media, you got blogs, you got podcasts. What do you think of, those other avenues people are choosing?
No, I think they're great. But I think they're great. There's no but, period. I think we should be everywhere.
Yeah.
That's all. So it's not that those are bad. It's that everywhere sports are, we should be. Whether it be a blog, whether it be a podcast like this, wherever it is, it should be everywhere, because we're a reflection of the players that play the sport.
No,
and that's just that's sort of it. Now
I'll go a step further and say, in Philly, with the demographics of the city being what they are, you're a reflection of the player and a large chunk of the community as well.
Right. But you have to care and value the community to care about that. If you don't care about the community, if you don't care about the community, you won't do anything for the community. You have to care or acknowledge there is a community.
No, and you're right. and you're right. And it's like,
it's not gonna be important. Yeah.
And to see you and to see you and Devon, Sean Bell, guys like that every day, and the three of you, specifically the three people I just named, were always people who supported Jonesy and I in this venture.
Yeah.
You know,
of course.
All it, like, you know, for real, all it took was a DM to get Ty on the show today. Hey, bro, how you doing? You want to come through? You know, and granted, you know, you and I have worked together in different aspects and in different circles for a long time, but it's not like, you know, we necessarily talk every day. But all it took was a DM and say, hey, bro, you want to come through? And it's been like that for almost everybody.
Yeah, and that's how it should be, because again, it's part of a community. It's part of a community. That's part of the community is useless if you can't reach out to other people in the community.
Well
and that's
said.
why at the end of the day, again, there were some who value community and some who don't. And but at the same time, it's not mandatory. We have to make it mandatory.
Yeah.
Because it's not mandatory. So we have to make it mandatory.
When you say make it mandatory, what do you mean? Like
because again, I'm good with everybody, and I recognize the environments. Most times in the environments I'm the only one. Most times, so I recognize that, and there's a certain amount of responsibility that comes with that. But at some point, the collective we have to stop taking the scraps of opportunities and start to create larger opportunities where more of us get the opportunity, and some of us will fail. Because remember, I'm saying opportunity, because you know, it's about opportunity. Sometimes you get an opportunity and you run with it, and sometimes you get an opportunity and you fail. We talking about, like with sports, Keely Ringo got the opportunity. Yeah, when the DC talk, Vanjo spoke this week, he said we going with Adoree. We gave him the opportunity, he didn't run with it. But I think more of those opportunities need to be, and we have to find a way to demand it and not beg for it. And I'm as guilty of that as anybody else, where I'm happy with any role, quote unquote, given to me versus taking it. And I think that the collective, we have to find a way to take those opportunities and provide those for others. And we collectively, we have to only blame ourselves for not doing more of that. Can't blame anybody else, because there's enough of us to where we should demand it, and we don't.
No, I hear you, man. You talking sense right now. You talking real, you know, you making a lot of sense, and we appreciate it. Appreciate you. We look forward to, in whatever capacity, you return to the everyday airwaves in this city, because you had a voice that we appreciated, a voice that we respected, a voice that we loved, man. And once again, as you know, as a whole, I appreciate you, you know, looking out for me and Jonesy in this show, in this medium.
Well, thank you. No, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys having on, and that's why I'll stay on with you guys as long as you want, because we get to talk sports, and that's what we love to do. We love to do.
Oh, yeah.
So to do it, like, you know, it's what you love to do, and I think sometimes I think that part gets lost. Where, like, at the end of the day, you're just talking sports,
right?
Yeah,
and with all the business part of it, sometimes you forget that, hey, we're just guys talking sports. We got it this because it's what we like doing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
And that also brings up the fact that, you know, you understand that me and Jonesy have no money, so it's not like we could have paid you to come on the show or broken off any bread, you know.
Nah.
You know.
Yeah. No, that's just what it's about. No, that's the part that it's about. And then once you get the community, the business then can be handled in a way that's both fair and profitable for everyone in the community.
Exactly. And that probably has to start coming up in the conversation, you know, business plans, how to build something that works for everyone, or that
Yep.
can work for everyone, that can bring everyone in. Because, you talk about this community, this sports media community, as big as it is still very small, in the sense that if there's someone you don't know, there's someone you do know who knows them.
Right.
So, it, like, just in able to, like just how, Jonesy and I met. We met through someone else's entity, and we just got to talking and said, hey, you do something, I do something. Let's do something together.
There
And
you
we
go.
were able to build what we have now. And so, it's, you bring up a lot of good points, and just trying to, bring it all together.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think that the technology makes it to where we're in a good space, and now it's just about execution going forward.
Exactly. Well, look, man, we've taken a huge chunk of your evening, bro, and we appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. And again, everybody, Craig Carton Show, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Sports Grid. You can watch it live or podcast or YouTube. So it's not hard to find.
All right. And for people who want to reach out to you personally, people want to talk to you, people want to, they see you on this show and they just want to tell you how much they agree or disagree, where can they reach you?
Both on Twitter and Instagram at Ty Johnson News. Ty Johnson News. That goes back for when I was working at the Wall Street Journal. That's what people was wondering, how'd you get that handle? I was working at the Wall Street Journal. You couldn't have a wild handle. So Ty Johnson News became the handle. It was kind of that simple. Like, he was like, how you get that news? I was like, yeah, I was working for the Wall Street Journal, which does news. And I needed a handle that was professional. So Ty Johnson News is how you can get me on both Twitter and Instagram.
Understand, man. Thank you, good brother. Appreciate you, Ty Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir. We gotta get you back on sometime. All right.
Yeah, let me know.
All right, we'll do, man. Thanks a lot, brother. All right. Oh, once again, the good brother Ty Johnson on the show, man. Another good show, brother.
It was a good time.
Oh, yeah. Real good time. Hey, you let us know what you think of today's show. You hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, X at Jonesy and Brown or at BITW Sports. Remember, you can download this podcast or all our archives. Just go to bitwsports.com. It's a good looking site. I pretty much created that site all by myself, man.
All by yourself?
Well, not like not like the content.
I'm just saying, they have AI to do that stuff for you these days.
They do, but look, Allen Iverson's not going to do this stuff for me, man. I had to do it myself, man.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I wasn't talking about Allen Iverson building your website.
No, you're right, man. You're absolutely right, man. But in the end, I'm still going to try to take all the credit for myself. It is what it is, good brother. Mike Jones, thank you for another good week of whatever we do on this show. Thank you for that, sir.
Hey, man, we just talking sports.
Yes, that is true. That is true. We are just talking sports. Hopefully, when we reconvene, we'll have better sports to talk about.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Hey, thank you for joining us for the world famous Jonesy and Brown Show. We will talk to you next week, y'all. Peace.
This podcast is a production of Best in the World Sports, a division of Definitive Visions Multimedia. To subscribe, download, and follow on social media, go to bitwsports.com. You're listening to Jonesy and Brown.